And rental properties are not business properties. That's the CRA's technical interpretation. That's it. Stops right there. So who does the replacement property apply to? Everyone, welcome to the Bliss Life. This complete channel is dedicated to educating and providing information, allowing you to make the best decisions for your financial freedom. So today's video is really about capital gains, and I'm hearing this a lot, especially in Canada with a lot of real estate agents. There's this big myth that's being thrown around, which is you do not have to pay taxes on your rental property if you buy another one within 12 months. This is completely not true. It is not true. Do not listen to the real estate agents or mortgage brokers. They do not know what they're talking about. This does not apply to rental properties. That's it. If that's all you need to know, you could stop the video right now. So the general rumor that's going around is, okay, I just sold my Plex, and then the real estate agent's telling me, okay, let's buy another one. You have 12 months to buy your next one, so you can avoid paying capital gains on the property you just sold. But this replacement property, this theory of, I need to buy replacement property to avoid paying capital gains, it only applies to business properties. And rental properties are not business properties. That's the CRA's technical interpretation. That's it. Stops right there. So who does the replacement property apply to? Now there's all kinds of cases where, let's say the government is building a subway station, and then they tell you, we need to buy your property out because we need to build tracks. So you involuntarily have to sell your property to the government. In those type of cases, you do have about 24 months. There's a bit more details, but 24 months to get your replacement. If you're voluntarily selling your property, then because you have a store and you want to move into a bigger store, so you sell the old one to move into a bigger one, you have about 12 months in general. There's a bit more detailed rules you have to follow, but 12 months in general to get your replacement. And if you do, and you do it to buy another property to do the same store, then you don't have to pay capital gains on the property you sold. But there's this rumor that keeps coming up, and it does create a lot of hysteria in the market, and it makes the market really hot, either if it's an investment property in a condo, a Plex, a home, and agents are saying like, okay, you need to buy your second property. And I'm not throwing shade at real estate agents, maybe they just don't know, but they stand a lot to gain from you buying another one through commissions, obviously. But what's important here is that this replacement property rule does not apply to rental properties. Now, I'm on the CRA website where they talk about a replacement property, and they tell you, okay, there's a way to avoid it if you buy a replacement property, and then they give an example. But all the details are in the income tax folio. When you get to the income tax folio, this is a bit more detailed. There's a lot more juice here, and it's not meant for the average Joe. What they say here is CRA issues income tax folios to provide a summary of technical interpretations and positions regarding certain provisions contained in income tax law. Due to their technical nature, folios are used primarily by tax specialists and other individuals who have an interest in tax matters. Now, we could stop right there. So this is probably why a lot of people don't know what is going on in the world, and this fugazi about how you can avoid capital gains keeps being spread by everyone in the real estate industry, or not everyone, but by some. Now, a former business property, it's a real or a movable property. My condo, my building is a real and immovable property. I'm done. Great. No, keep reading. An interest in real property, a right in immovable, a property that is subject to an election of 13.42. Here you go. This is where it gets juicy. The rental property. The definition of a former business property excludes rental property. For purpose of this definition, rental property is defined to mean a real or immovable property owned by the taxpayer, used in the particular year principally for the purpose of gaining or producing gross revenue, that is rent. Accordingly, even though a property is used to earn qualified business income, it would be disqualified as a form of business property if in the tax year of disposition it was used principally for the purposes of producing rent. However, if a property is leased by the taxpayer to a person related to the taxpayer and is used by that related person principally for any purpose other than gaining or producing revenue that is rent, it is not included in the definition of rental property. What this means is that if you're renting out a property for rent, forget about it. It does not count. You're going to pay capital gains on that property when you sold. And congratulations, it is a fantastic problem to have. Now, the cases where you would qualify as a general business property would be, let's say you rent a house to your cousin or family member, whoever, and they use that house for the purposes of generating business income and not for rental. So let's say you have a really nice house, you bought a house in the GTA, it has like 6 rooms, and that house is repurposed by your cousin who's a doctor or a nurse, and they take each room and they dedicate it to taking care of the elderly. Now, this is a senior home. It's a senior home, it's a senior home business. It's not a home where people live and they're paying you rent. So in that type of scenario, that house would qualify as a capital to defer capital gains if you decide to sell it and buy a bigger place so that you can offer more services to more seniors. There is a interesting situation where what if you rent your home out, but it's partially used for business and partially used for rental. So let's say a daycare. During the day, it runs as a daycare, and at night, the operators sleep at the home and they pay you rental income. Now, this has to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis, as the CRA says below. But they would say, if the business is more than 50%, so let's say it's a daycare and they're making 10 grand a month in daycare revenues and they're paying you 2,000 a month in rental income, then obviously that's a business property. But it's always a case-by-case basis. It's not always point-blank 50%. And they do say, other factors they look at is income or gross revenue from each operation, profits from each operation, capital employed, time, attention, and effort, and the motivation or intent of taxpayer in making the investment together with the ultimate utilization of the property. So next time you sell your property and you have a capital gain, congratulations. It's a good problem to have, but you have to declare that capital gain in the tax year. And if it's a rental, and if your agent is telling you, okay, let's go buy your next property, you have 12 months, it's a lot of pressure, you start shopping for your next one, tell them to relax. There is no urgency, and you can take your time to shop the market and wait for the opportunity that you feel comfortable with. So that's it for me. If you like what you saw today, feel free to subscribe. This whole page, The Bliss Life, is dedicated to educating, dispelling myths, and, going through things that I personally enjoy discussing, like my stock picks, what I think about my stocks that I invest in, what they're doing, and, just providing general information so that you can become educated and make the best decisions for yourself. I'm obviously not providing you any advice because I am not your advisor. So that's it for me. Thank you very much, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks.